All right, so mustering out. What we can do is DM plus total terms. Number of right. Okay, so we need to work out the number of mustering out benefits that we get. And there is a mustering out. Okay, so we get automatics, personal weapons. There's how many rolls somewhere. Which table or column benefits? Right, 1 per term. You add 1 mustering rollout per term on a career resolution. So roll 1d plus DMs. Okay, so we get 1d plus the number of terms, which is 2. And I'm going to roll. Let's have a look. I think I've got enough money with that 800k, so I'm going to roll 2 on the benefits table. So it's going to be 1d plus 2 on the benefits. So 1d plus 3. Sorry, 1 plus 2 is 3. I get a wafer jack. If you want to know wafers and how they're useful and everything else, read the Agent of the Imperium book by Mark Miller. It's quite a good SF read. If you're into the Star Warsy side of science fiction, it might not gel, but if you're into a bit more thinky stuff, then it's quite cool. Right, and 4 plus 2 is 6. Life insurance. There we go. Life insurance. All right, so that's kind of the end of that part of it. So we went on to the next bit of it, really. So ship shares. 1 share acquires 50 tons of the ship. That's a 200-ton free trader. Requires 4 ship shares to acquire full control. And I have 8 ship shares to play around with. So, you know, the guy may have actually nicked something. I'm actually going to, instead of all of this, I'm going to try and get a far trader. But that's for him to go around with. Probably something is nicked. Han Solo, the computer hacker. Okay, so we can also go for fame. We can make a flux roll and all of this, but we've got sort of these things to go around with. So craftsman's corridors, army and navy, blah blah, rogue, successful schemes times 2 successful schemes, that's 4. So we've got a fame of base fame of 4, right? His fame is 4. Neighborhood fame equals 4, but we can also apply what's called a flux event to that, which may increase or decrease fame. So, you know, red minus yellow again for flux. 4 minus 4 is 0, so that's it. So the flux event you can apply whenever you like, really. It doesn't have to be in character generation, but just doing it just then didn't really adjust in any way. So that's it. All of this kind of stuff now is helping flesh things out. It's not particularly, you know, you can use your own imagination to do this, or whatever you or the GM sort of come up to. But there's a load of roles that you can make to, you know, just to fill in some details. So, for example, this guy went to Ed 5. So here we go. I can make a roll on Ed 5. I've got 6. So it's Province Education Company. So whatever there is that. Not in Shire, it might be province, because the Galian Federation is quite small, so we could actually say that he went to college at the Galian Education Company. Galian Education Company. You see, all of this is just made up. I mean, there's not necessarily anything in any of the books that talk about the Galian Federation Company, but, you know, you can make it up. So character generation can add to some of the bits of things. Then he went to college. So now we can go for this. So let's go 1d6 for that. And it's 1, so City College. So I don't know what cities there are on Salur. So we can have, let's just put in City College. just rounds it up, because we know that the college that he went to was only really had anything to do with the city in which possibly he grew up in. The rank is how good was that school, and it's always 11, so that's a pretty damn good school that he went to, good college that he went to. And then he went to university, so let's have a look. So university's up here, university number 2, University of Salur. So University of Salur, there you go, and that rank 3D for that rank. There we go, no significance in the fact it's red. That's 2, 4, 5. That was a pretty naff university, so probably why he flunked out. There you go. It wasn't so much his non-attention to the lessons, it was the useless tutors at that particular university, and that's probably why he turned to the dark side and roguery. All right, so that's all give you schools. Then we can do things like, okay, so rogue's long-term goal. There we go. We can go and roll that if we want a long-term roll to terraform Salur. Well, I'm not sure that Salur needs terraforming, but you know. And again, these are just for inspiration. They're just tables that give you a little bit of a helping hand if you want to do. You don't have to use them at all, or you could use them and just pick from them. There's no compulsion to use them at all if you don't want to. Rogue's randomly acquired item. There we go. 2, an image of a secret Imperial starship. Image of secret Imperial starship. Wonderful. Wonder what that might be. Right. And then former organisation for a rogue. Select a former organisation from another table based on the rogue scheme career. Okay, well, he was a scout for one of them, so let's go and try for that. Let's go and say scout. Roll for that. 6. The core expeditions. There you go. So when he was a scout, we can say that he was pretending to be expeditions, right? But we could also, you know, this when he was what was he first on? A spacer. He was 1 World Cruiser Squadron. So it would be Salur Cruiser Squadron. There you go. And then we got what have we got? Next ones, important events. Rogue. Select an important event from another table based on the rogue scheme. Okay. All right, so let's go for the scout one, because that was maybe a bit good. So 3, the Spinwood border survey. Well, I'm going to say that to the training border survey. So important events. Event training border survey. Training border survey, because Gateway is in the training side of the Imperium rather than the Spinwood side of the Imperium, and we are done. There we go. So what we can do now, all of that scribbling mess that we've just made on that book, on that page, I can now go and complete a bunch of this. So I'm going to name of it. Current rank, doesn't really have any rank. Career experience. So we can go Ed 5 at what did it say? Galian Education Company, at Galian Education Company. Right. Then we can go at college. Then he attended, I don't know what city there is on Salur, but City College. City College, where he majored in elec and minored in programmer. Then he went to the University of Salur, where he majored in or programmer, and minored in robotics. All right, and then he went rogue. So 2 terms as rogue. So I'm going to put down, let's have a look, T1 with the Salar Cruiser Squadron, with the Salar Cruiser Squadron. Now, why is this important to note all of this down? Because this is all just prose, right? Well, gives the GM some stuff to go on to you know, and the context and role-playing stuff, and sort of feeds into the game. All of this stuff just provides background material that can form bits of your character's adventure and motivations and all of that good stuff. So term 2 took in the where we got to the core expedition with and then took part in the trailing survey. Right, awesome. Okay, that's that. Gender, well, I've been calling him a bloke all the way through, so let's stick with that. A birth date you can calculate. So from whenever the actual whenever you're starting the campaign, you just count back to how old he is, and then work out his birth date. I'm not going to do that. That's just a simple subtraction. You don't need to be shown how to do that. You're all clever people. I'm not sure what's up with this. My poor little old camera seems to be liking to eat batteries more so than it ever used to. Okay, so birth date, like I was saying about birth date, you just count back. Also, T5 is not pinned to any particular era. So where we've had in the past, like Classic Traveller was set around 1105, the Mega Traveller was set around 1116 with the Rebellion. Then the New Era was set around 1200. The T4 went all the way back to Minu 0, and the Mongoose Traveller seems to be following the Classic Traveller time frame. They've just brought out a bunch of stuff on the Fifth Frontier War, which is one of the focus of Classic. But T5 is not pinned to any given era, so whatever era you go for, pick the date that your campaign's starting at, count back his age, and that's where you end up with his birth date. That easy. Okay, so our C1, because it went up during the course of generation, our C1 is 9. That's strength, by the way. C2 is 7. Sorry, that went up during generation as well. Right. Endurance also went up during generation, so that's 6. Intelligence, that stayed the same, so that was 7. Education went up a few times, so that's now 9. And social standing remained 10 throughout. Now, you can, if you like, go for the what's called extended hexadecimal. So, extended, if you know anything about hexadecimal, it's a way of using single characters to express values higher than 10. So it's the same as binary or whatever, except we just run out of numbers in our Arabic number format. So when you're counting that, 0 to 9 is as is in hex, and then A, it represents 10, B represents 11, and so on. Now with hexadecimal, clues in the name, 16, it's base 16, so like decimal base 10, binary base 2, hexadecimal base 16. So the highest number that you can count to or you can have, so B is 11, C is 12, D is 13, E is 14, right? F is 15, and then there is no G to be equal 16 because you're counting in base 16. So in exactly the same way in decimal, where you get to 9, you go to 10, you add 1 into the column, into the tens column, and then reset the units to 0. It's exactly the same as that. So now you would go 1, 0, which is 1, 16 and 0 units, right? And then it would go 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 1, roll the way up to 1F, and then it would become 2, 0. So that you're counting in base 16. That's in normal hexadecimal. In E-hex, or extended hexadecimal, then there is a G, an H, no I, a J, K, L, L, M, N, no O, P, Q, R, S, T, or whatever, right? It just keeps going up in counting values along this same line. So it's called E-hex to distinguish it from actual hexadecimal. So I could stuff into his social, because his social is 10. Instead of actually writing a 10 in there, I could stick it as an A. All right, easy enough. Right, birth world and home world are the same, so I'm just going to put Salah in there. Right, I could also do it wherever your campaign is taking place, or whatever you want to do with it. Traveller map is brilliant. That's an online website. I'll put a link to it somewhere. If you don't know, if you have no idea what Traveller map is, or have never heard of it before, and you play Traveller, then really get with the program. The alternative is it's actually drawn from Traveller map. So it's just like a book of data. The alternative is that wonderful little animal, which is full of wonderful maps and numbers and stuff, right? But you know, this was produced from Traveller map data. So you know, if you want to know where we are, right? We're talking about Gateway. It's this area here, and Sulla is about there, right? Well, there you go. This being the Imperium, right? So that's a little bit advertising for Traveller map, but you know, you could use Atlas of the Imperium as well, but that doesn't have all the data you need in it. So Second Survey or Traveller map. Or whatever book. I mean, the Training Frontier is a Mongoose publication that will do it. That will give you some stuff on Gateway, or whichever part of the Imperium wants. Tons of data for Traveller these days. Homeworld is the same as Birth World, so we don't really need to do anything from there. This is just a checkbox stuff. So we ended character generation. So 29, 30, 31, 32. So he is in this area here. So his age is currently 32, right? Mental age begins with, let's just go and put 32 in somewhere. Just sort of 32. Why not? Wherever there's a space. Okay, so that's it. This, by the way, is used for it's just for determining. So aging starts at 34 for humans. For sophonts, for non-human sophonts, this table is different. It carries different ages, but the actual the stages, stage 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever, are the same. Just the ages ranges change. So whichever kind of species you're playing, your character will begin to suffer the effects of aging from stage 5. What stage 5 actually is will be determined by your species. And for bog standard normal humans, that's at 34. And he's currently here at age 32, so he's just on the bounce of crossing that line. Okay, what else do we need? We need the roles. So this is the original stuff, right? I can record the DNA stuff here. So this is these numbers here that we had. So that's the 2, 1. If you remember back to when we rolled them, that was the first die that we rolled in the 2d6 to give us our genetic component. So 2, 1, 3, 4, and then nothing for education and nothing for social. Right? That's that. And the roles we can put here, which is the original stuff. This is what we're using, universal player personality profile. Just a little bit on that as well. Originally in Classic Traveller, you had universal planetary profile and university personality profile. Later versions of Traveller called this universal world profile, UWP, and that makes much more sense because it separates the two. Anyone that still uses UPP for universal planetary profile, as well as it for university personality profile, is making their own level of insanity. Okay, so 8. This is just the original roles. 6, 5, 7, 4, and 10. Right, not that they really mean much, but it's getting that, just labelling them down. Okay, personal equipment. Well, we've got a wafer jack, and we have life insurance. Not really equipment, but it's useful to know that we've got it. So skills, we're going to count back on the skills that we've got. So we've got Streetwise 2, we've got Comms 1, we've got Jack of all trades 1, we've got Pilot 1, a lot of ones. We have Broker 1. We have 0G. One. We have astrogation. I have to get a bit messy in where I'm scribbling things down. We have Programmer 4. What else do we have? We have Robotics 1. That's all we got on our robotics. Robotics 1. And then finally we've got Electronics 4 2. Electronics 4. Programmers Electronics 4. University, I'm going to actually put in there that he flunked uni. You can put as much information in this as you like, as you can fit. Right. On the other side, educational training. Oh, I'll spit them through. We've got Ed 5, college, and then uni. Flunked. This is one of those things where read ahead. It's alright. Perpetual DMs don't often have to fill in blooming character sheets. Oh, regardless, right? So a lot of the stuff that are in there I should have scribbled in there, but whatever. Certifications, none. Medals and commendations, none, so nothing in any of those. And then there's all of this kind of bits and pieces floating around here, so these additional things. So you've got like awareness and awareness string, perception and perception string. So these values here are largely based on species. So we got the senses of visual, hearing, smell and touch, and a different sophont may have different values there. And now we've got vision 16, which is the quality of it, and then RGB, which is the spectral range that they can go. So each one of these goes and refers to the quality and nature of that sense. So it gets quite detailed. And in the sophont generator stuff, all of this is managed. So as you go through sophont generation, it asks you things like what's the star what's the star of the world in which this species evolved, because that will dictate some of the spectral properties of their vision. Okay, so sanity is a characteristic here. You don't have to roll that at the start. You can if you want, but it's one of those. There's two characteristics: sanity and psionics. Neither of which you have to generate at the start, but they can be rolled when they come into play. So sanity, if anything, occurs during the adventure where a character's sanity, you need to know, is stableness of mind, or whatever you want to call it, and then it can be generated at that point, and then come into play as needed. Same with psionics. Psionics is usually only rolled for when a character is tested or comes into contact with psionics, and see if they've got any abilities, or see if they can resist, or whatever they end up doing. Personally speaking, I do not like psionics in games. I know why they're present, because a lot of people do like them, but I don't particularly like them. Right. And that is all you really need. So all of the lot of these other bits and pieces, like the species scent and their organic intelligence and education and all this kind of stuff, you can fill in later, again, as they're needed, if they're needed. If you're being hunted around, like you're stranded on a planet with some predator that's after you and everything else, your scent values and things may become needed to see if that thing goes. But for general purpose play, for generally sort of getting off the ground and actually flying into space and doing something interesting with an adventure, we're done. So I've got to give him a name, and I've got to calculate his birth date, because all of the rest of it. But we've taken him through the career path. We've got a bunch of skills. We kind of know what he did. We knew that he flunked out of university. We knew he ended up in a bad crowd, ended up being a rogue, became actually quite rich. Oh, I need to put that in there as well. CR 800, 1000. Well, I could put KCR 800, but there you go. So yeah, these. And we need to note that he has 8 ship shares. Well, that's it, really. That's where we are at with it. And there's my little roguish character, and that is the fun little sub mini game, whatever that is, Traveller 5 character generation. And I hope that sort of made sense, and I hope that took some of the daunting. I mean, he didn't die. How's about that? I was actually promising myself, we'll just follow it through. We won't sort of stage anything. We'll just go and follow the character narration through and see what character we end up with. And I think we've ended up with a reasonably fun one to play. I can make something of that and have some fun with it. I was just going to follow the dice. And if he died, then at least you'd have an illustration of a character dying during character generation. But he didn't. So you don't. So apologies for that. There you go. Anyway, we're done for that. If you want me to do this again, if you found it amusing, or you found it useful, or you find the sound of my voice droning on about all this kind of stuff useful in some kind of weird ASMR sense, or whatever, then let me know. If you want me to do more Traveller or T5 or whatever. I have to tell you, Traveller is my favourite role-playing game. Traveller 5 is the version of it that I currently lean towards. I do use a lot of Mongoose materials with Traveller 5, but the core rules that I use with it is that. So if you want anything more on Traveller 5, then let me know. I quite enjoy dispelling the myths where people turn around and say, it's not really a game, but it is. You do have to kind of follow it, and it's certainly not a game for new players to pick up immediately. It helps. It helps having played Traveller for just under 50 years. It really does help with understanding T5, shall we say. But, maybe that's I'm just got used to Mark Miller's writing, or whether I just got used to the way these things are, or because there are still elements of this that are familiar. So it's not so much a going, oh, how's this game do this, or it's more a case of I know the general concept in Traveller. How does T5 fulfill that concept? Anyway, that's it. Done and dusted for that, and I'll see you in the next one. Yeah, that's it. Take care.